Shut up and sit down. And sit down.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the 360 Sports Show. I'm Nhl Trade. He is Christian Lauber, and you can reach us anytime in the comment section of the live streams. We are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You could also reach us by email, the360sportshow@gmail.com, if you are one of our podcast listeners. Thank you for finding us here, and thank you for joining us here on a Tuesday evening, Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. Christian, I say we start off tonight's festivities with, we recap the biggest stories from the past week, and I'd say this time of year, mid to late March, there is nothing bigger than the madness of March. So I say we start there. What say you?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And I personally think, obviously there's tons of games and tons of highlights. The first weekend is just 4 days, really whole week, Thursday through Sunday is just sports gluttony. I mean, you can just have like a laptop and a TV and another laptop and a tablet, and you can just absorb basketball for 4 straight days. I didn't get a chance to watch a ton of college basketball this year. I've watched more in the last week than I did the entire year. Obviously well worth the watch. And obviously there's tons of highlights and tons of games and everything, but in my mind, and I'm sure in a lot of people's minds, I want to get your opinions on this as well. The darlings right now, and what I think is the must watch, is when you get a Cinderella, and right now that is the Peacocks of St. Peter's. What do you think, Christian, of the run they are on? They upset Kentucky. They upset, if you want to call it an upset at that point, it's a 15 versus 7. But they hang on and beat Murray State, and they'll be playing Purdue in the Sweet 16. What do you think of St. Peter's?
Pretty good stuff out of the 15 seed. I mean, what more can you ask? I mean, it's like they beat Kentucky by 6, but then they beat Murray State by 10. So it's like they're kind of rolling. I don't know. It's like one of those teams that you feel like is going to beat Kentucky and then kind of fall off, but they just came right back out. Now, Purdue is going to be a tough test. Obviously, it's a 3 seed. But, they're probably saying right now, why not us?
Well, that's the thing is you're the 15. It's the same thing like when you had a 16 beat a 1 for the first time with UMBC. That's going to be the hardest game. After that, hypothetically, you're playing a lesser team each time until you get out of your bracket, until you get out of your region. And I don't think it's any fluke. Now, like you said, Purdue is a very good team. They are not going to be an easy out by any stretch of the imagination. So, but it's not a fluke with them. I mean, they play defense for the entire game. No let up, just constant pressure and hustle working. And then they just kind of know what they are offensively, and they don't try to do anything flashy or special, and they just execute. I mean, maybe it's Purdue. They're going to run into a team that just is going to shoot the lights out, and you lose a game that way because you just don't have the offense to keep up. But their formula is a formula that can work in college basketball. Like, I'd be stunned if Purdue ran him off the floor.
Yeah, I would find that hard to believe at this point, just the way they're playing. I guess I can't say it would shock me, but just based on 15 to a 3 seed and now Purdue's really good. I mean, that side of the bracket um outside of St. Peter's is pretty much like kind of as you would expect. Maybe not UNC. I guess
I was
UNC
gonna
is
say Baylor getting
kind of
knocked
upsetting
off that early
Baylor.
is a little.
But outside of that, it's like, Duke is obviously still in it, Texas Tech, Gonzaga, those teams. But even up on the other side, I mean, it's like, I guess Providence is a 4 seed, but I feel like a lot of people had them out at like this second game. So I don't want to say they're an underdog. Obviously they are against Kansas, but um, everybody had them out. Oh, San Diego State's probably going to take care of them. Maybe Richmond. Well, they're going to be out in the first. Maybe they won't even make the tournament. Who knows? But I don't know. It's just this time of year now is even more crazy. I feel like you don't see a dominant run by one of these teams now. It's not like it used to be where it was like, okay, Kansas, Kentucky, Duke. Those teams are still in it, but you see other teams kind of getting to the championship now.
They feel
which is kinda fun to
those
see.
programs certainly feel vulnerable.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like it makes it more compelling if you're, just a regular viewer of college basketball. Obviously, the hardcore fans are going to be pissed one way or another if their team doesn't get there. But just for me as a casual viewer of college basketball, I like to see the upsets. I like to see different teams get there, rather than it's Coach K and whoever. Right? It's always the same guys. But having these teams make runs like this it makes it more compelling.
Yeah, I mean, and really, you look at the matchups. All right, Gonzaga, Arkansas. That's kind of that. That matchup has an expected. Arizona, Houston, a 1 and a 5. Right, that's a matchup you'd expect in the Sweet 16.
Right.
Texas Tech, Duke. Hey, everything's just going according to plan. North Carolina, UCLA. Okay. Purdue, sure, they should be there. St. Peter's, nobody expected them to be there. The other side, Iowa and Miami. An 11 and a 10 seed. That's exciting. And yes, Kansas and Providence is the 1 and the 4. Like, that should be the matchup in the Sweet 16. But like you said, everybody, I think, kind of just doubted Providence. Maybe it was because of the way they got just shellacked by Creighton in the Big East tournament.
Probably. Yeah.
And so people looked at it and said, okay, maybe they're not necessarily tournament ready. Were they looking ahead? That's not a good sign. They could get caught early. But
hell, even
now,
Michigan's making a run. Michigan's another seed that's like they're
11.
11, right? But they're still playing against top teams. I mean, they went through who?
Colorado State and then
State,
Tennessee.
which is a 6, and then Tennessee's a 3. And now Villanova's a different animal, I guess. But
yeah,
again, it's like you see these teams kind of trickling through, and one of them is bound to get through just by odds, right? I mean, you look at it.
Oh, I want it to be St. Peter's so bad. I'm rooting for them as far as they go against anybody. Now, if for some reason it's them in PC, which would be insane. Now I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go PC there, right?
But the Peacocks, man.
The Peacocks. Yeah.
So 2 things. Obviously Baylor already got knocked off by North Carolina. Almost came back. They were down most of that game. They forced overtime. So one number 1 seed is already gone. The remaining ones, we kind of just went over the matchups. Gonzaga and Arkansas, Arizona versus Houston, and then Kansas versus Providence. Out of those 3 matchups, how do you think the number 1 seeds will fare? Will all 3 advance to the Elite 8? And if there's one that gets knocked out here in the Sweet 16, which one is it?
I think a lot of them had trouble in that second round. I mean, Gonzaga and Memphis was close. Arizona had a real tough time with TCU. That they ended up winning by 5 in overtime, but it took overtime. Took the whole effort. And then Kansas, obviously, I feel like Kansas is probably gonna beat Providence if I had to guess. In terms of the others, I feel like Arizona or Gonzaga could lose. If I had to pick one, I'd say probably Arizona would drop off. But hey,
Yeah.
I think it's one of those 2.
I think Gonzaga didn't play their best game. And once they kind of like made their move and took control, they were able to find their way to the finish line versus Memphis. Like you said, Arizona overtime versus TCU. I mean, Houston's no chump as a 5 seed. I just have a feeling though, like I feel fine with Gonzaga. It's between Kansas and Arizona for me. And maybe it's a little bit of homerism here, but I mean, PC has, they win by 9 versus South Dakota. They handle Richmond. If Kansas, obviously they destroy Texas Southern and that 7-point game with Creighton. And so PC and Creighton, obviously those are two teams that I think are kind of, we look at as similar, performance-wise. I think if there is one out of these three, I think it might be PC probably has the best shot. Obviously, I do think all three number ones probably make it through this round, but I probably give PC the better chance out of the three, personally.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean they are the 4 seed, right? So they should. I think all these games tend to be close once you get to this stage. I feel like, I mean, I could be wrong. I can't remember what I had for breakfast. Never mind year to year here, but like I feel like once you get to this stage, all these games are competitive, at least for some amount of time during these games. So I think any one of these seeds could drop out, these top seeds.
Yeah. What I think is just always, I always like, and it hasn't been this way. I can't remember. Again, like you said, who can remember what they had for breakfast? It could have been just last year. The last time it's been all 4 number 1 seeds advancing. I know it like hadn't happened for a long time, and then we got like all these years in a row, whereas the number 1 seeds in the Final Four.
I want to say it's been a few years at least.
And it's like, I guess that's good on the people who made the bracket, but it's like, come on.
Yeah.
we want some upsets. Don't just tell me it was the favorites all year long, and then that's who ends up being. Obviously, they had to earn it. This isn't like the college football playoff where, we just pick the 4 best teams and now they get to play, 2 games and decide a champion. You got to earn your way through this field. So I'm excited. I mean, again, Sweet 16 starts on Thursday and Friday, and then the Elite 8 Saturday and Sunday. And so when we take to the airwaves next week, we'll know who is in the Final Four. I would say let's guess now in that, but that's all it would be. We'd be guessing.
Yeah. I mean,
who can predict this madness? So I'm trying to look and see the times. Friday at 7. Good. I gotta watch this St. Peter's Purdue game. Purdue was really. I mean, they had a battle. I don't know if it was a late game, Christian. So I don't know if it was past your bedtime on Sunday. But Purdue, Texas. That was a great game. Ended up being a 10-point difference because of all the fouling at the end. But that's just an example. I mean, the 6 seeds, 7 seeds, like, some of these box scores you see, yeah, they won by 10. Well, it was like a 2-point game with a minute to go.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean that happens a lot. And same, you see an 8-point game and you're like, okay, well that probably wasn't that close, but really it went to overtime or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. You did mention Coach K, talking about, Duke, hey, one of these perennial teams, blah blah. Well, we all know this is his farewell tour. This is his final year. Duke is playing Texas Tech. Do we think this is the final weekend of Coach Mike Krzyzewski in college basketball?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, that is at least the only consideration I've had for some time. I feel like this is it for him. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, I guess, but it has that feel anyway. I don't know. It just
obviously he's done. I mean, like, is this the weekend? Is it Texas Tech or Gonzaga or Arkansas, whoever the Elite 8 ends up being? Will this be his final weekend, or does he make it to the Final Four? Does this storybook continue for him?
Bold prediction. It will continue.
Oh, all right. So, at least one guess. We have put Duke in the Final Four coming out of the West region. I guess if I'm going to make a bold prediction, then I'm going to say that St. Peter's comes out of the East. I'll go with it, baby.
So you think were you asking me if Duke's going to go all the way, or just
No,
out of
are they
this
going to
next
make it to the
round?
final? Are they going to make it to the Final Four? Because
I guess that is the final. Yeah.
you know
Well, I don't know. That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
before we get to chalk again, Christian, the Elite Eight will have come and gone. So we got to figure this out now.
Let me move my bracket over here. So I mean, it would obviously they'd have to go through Arkansas or Gonzaga.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Duke is in the Final Four. Yeah, I'll stick with that.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that my Peacocks beat the Boilermakers, but then lose to UCLA. UCLA coming out of the East. So that's what I'll root for. And we'll leave the Midwest and the South. We'll have to check in and see what happens there. So you can let us know in the comment section.
I think March Madness kind of drags me back in because I haven't watched a lick of college basketball this season. Like very rarely do I kind of tune into a game here and there because it's just I don't know. Like there's other stuff going on, but this tournament always gets the casual fan or casual viewer of basketball anyway right back into this.
You'll
know the theme.
It's like the Manchurian Candidate. You wake up, okay, I gotta watch 8 straight hours of college basketball now.
Like I barely even remember that Coach K is retiring and all this stuff is going on because I don't follow it as well as much as I used to when I would get into the brackets and stuff. But just as a casual basketball fan, I think you have to watch this tournament at some point.
Yeah. So if at any point you have any March Madness thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, you can drop those in the comment section of the stream. And if you're one of our podcast listeners and you want to get your thoughts in, you can do so. The 360 Sports Show at gmail.com is where you can send your questions, and we will get those. We constantly check the mailbag here. So that is our little hit here on March Madness. Obviously, we'll be talking a lot more about that next week once the Final Four is set. We have some other things we want to get through and run through, but first, we always leave this till later, but we're going to get to it right now. It's Hot and Not.
It's time for Hot.
Hot.
You want to talk about hot?
Hot.
Please stop doing that.
Doing what?
Continue. Go ahead.
And Not.
God, is he a moron? Oh my God, he doesn't shut up.
It's so stupid.
Stupid decisions.
Dum-dums. The naughtiest knot of the year.
Oof. Suck fest. Suck sauce.
On the 360 Sports Show.
All right, Christian. Hot and not. The good, the bad, the up, the down. Lead us off. Tell us what's hot.
That was a good segue. This is a great segue. I mean, this can be short and sweet. I went with March Madness just based on all the games that have been played. I mean, you could just sit down and watch 18 games in a row over 2 days, 3 days. So I just went with the tournament itself, just based on, like I said, kind of just briefly. Like I'm not tuning into college basketball all that often as much as I have in years past. Like I tune into some Providence here and there, some local stuff, but not as much, throughout the country, just to see where the seating is. But the tournament itself drags me back in. There's a bunch of upsets. It's a ridiculous. It literally is madness. So, it just kind of reels you back in, even as just a casual fan.
Yeah, it is an event, to say the least. Everybody gets dragged in. My hot is also going to be from March Madness. I was actually surprised that not as many people had seen this when it happened. Again, evidence that, you can watch. There's games on CBS, TBS, True TV, Lord knows what other station, the Travel Network, I don't know, HGTV. You can watch games on like 5 different stations and probably 20 platforms at once. So you may not have been watching in the first round the Indiana St. Mary's game. We see this happen in the NBA and other places. The ball gets stuck. Somebody shoots it. It goes back iron. Boop. And it pops up and it's stuck behind the backboard. Now in the NBA, you got a whole bunch of 7-foot guys, right? And so like Boban Marjanovic just comes out and goes bulk and just gets it with a broomstick and it's gone. Well, not as many 7-foot guys in college hoops. And so they try to go get the ball. The ref's trying to get it. He can't get it. They hand the broom to this tall kid. He can't reach it because they couldn't telescope out the broom, the mop. And so they get a chair. Now, logic would say put the tallest person on the chair, right, to get the ball. So let's share for the people watching live. Let's go ahead and share this. So here we go. They're trying. They give it to the ref, and obviously the 5'9" official is not going to reach it. They wouldn't let the player stand. I guess it's a liability thing. They were like, we can't have players, stay chairs, something. And so instead the ref obviously is not going to reach it. He can't even come close to get it. So everybody's saying, well, what do we do? Oh, I'll just leave it up there. Go get another ball. And look at the player, number 11 there. He's like, come on, just give it to me. And then they're like, wait a minute. The commentators are saying, let's get the cheerleaders. And there they go. So here to save the day from Indiana. And I just love this. These are these non-sports moments. She gets the ball, and the place is just going nuts.
Oh, yeah, it's going wild. Yeah.
Absolutely wild. Both sides, both teams, everything. Fantastic. Unbelievable. But again, what I love is they interviewed her in between the next timeout. So this is just gonna loop. We'll just let this loop here while we talk about this. And they're like, tell us what you were thinking. And it's like, they weren't thinking anything. I hate these interviews. What were you thinking? They were standing there. Nobody could reach the ball. And they just said, why not? Go ahead. Vault me up there. I can't wait. There's going to be the 30 for 30 on this in 10 years. This girl, there's probably a debate. Them do you want to do it? Oh, no, we shouldn't do it. I don't want to do it. Should we do it? And she's the girl who's just yeah, screw it. I'll do it. And she's famous. Absolutely famous. You go from 500 Instagram followers to 1 million overnight from doing this.
Yeah, just ridiculous. I mean, this is one of the best part about this is the ref trying to get the stool, then the guys players looking at each other you gonna get it? Am I gonna do it? And then here come the cheerleaders. Yeah, it's just
no, in real time, I was texting you. I was like, this is a knot. This started as a knot. Them not being able to get this ball.
Yeah.
And then the official. Yep, he's gonna be able to reach it. Not this almost 7 foot tall kid. Let's not let him stand on the chair. And then all of a sudden it's wait a minute, what's going on? Oh my gosh! And just talk about how effortless though too. Kudos to the guy who's the prop here for lifting her all the way up, or the bat. He's literally holding her all the way over his head by her ankles. Granted, she probably only weighs 100 pounds, but I can't lift 100 pounds like that over my head.
But still, they walked with it too. At least a few steps right over the hoop.
Yeah. Oh, so good, so good. So that was easily on the hot list for this week. So, Christian, let's go the other way. Womp 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 womp.
I'm gonna let you go first because I think I'm gonna segue us into a bigger topic here.
Okay. So I had 2. So maybe you see what I've written. I'm gonna go with the first one because it's easy to poke fun. My man, not Big Baby this week. Unfortunately,
not this week. No,
Big Baby
could have been on it though.
He gets a reprieve. He didn't do anything deserving of the not list this week. Mr. Russell Westbrook, who is just not having himself a good second half of the year, hasn't really had a great year to begin with. But this one was he's got a souvenir for the fan. So here comes Westbrook down the middle, kicks it to the corner. Oh, 5 rows deep. I just can't. The Lakers are so bad. They shouldn't be. They should be better. I mean, LeBron has just decided that, you know what, you guys all suck, so I'm just going to get mine, and he's dropping 30 points a night. Absolutely detonated last night on Kevin Love. They're losing games. They blew a game to the Wizards. It's bad. LeBron is putting up plenty of highlights. The rest of the team, it's this. Russell Westbrook to the free throw line. Whoop! Just a bit outside. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we know. Oh, my bad.
My bad. Yeah.
Oops.
Only in the 5th row.
Yeah. Yeah, not as bad as
it's kind of like a half no look pass, right? You just saw a yellow jersey up in that fifth row over there.
yeah. Oh, sorry, I was passing another guy I thought was 18 feet tall. Sorry. Whoops, my bad. So, yeah.
Doesn't that kind of sum up the Lakers season, though?
Oh, 100%. 100% it does.
I think you could just put the Lakers on it.
And listen, people are like celebrating LeBron, what he's doing right now. Like I saw compares like, oh, he's the first guy to do like 30 points in back-to-back games with this many rebounds and things since like Kobe did it in 2012 and Shaq did it in 2000. And it's like, okay, but those teams were competitors. They were like in contention for championships, either winning them or the 2012 Lakers, like those expectations. They were a good team until Kobe got hurt. This Lakers team is going nowhere. So to say like to put anything LeBron's doing in Lakers context, it's like not, I don't think it's right to do so because they're losing. Now, what he's doing at his age, yes, like mind-boggling what he's doing. But to try and be like, oh, like this is worthy of Lakers recognition, don't. This is a Celtics fan saying, don't disgrace the Lakers' history by saying anything that they're doing right now is worthy of praise.
I mean, they're 31
in the context
and
of the organization.
You know what's crazy though? ESPN and stuff, like they're 31 and 41, but it's all LeBron coverage. Look, I think LeBron James is a great player. Don't get me wrong. But why are we not talking about the teams that are normally where the Lakers are? Like, talk about those teams instead of, it's constant. And I get it's the Lakers, but they're 31 and 41. They're out of the playoffs right now. They have to do the play-in, I believe. I think they're the 9 seed. It's like, that's not where they should be. So let's not pretend like this is like some historic run. I mean, LeBron is doing great things. Well, what a surprise. I mean, he's a good player, but.
Yeah. Well, they kind of need to. I mean, it's like LA, you need the LA market. It's a money thing. Like if LeBron was in Cleveland doing this and the Cavs were 31 and 41, would not be. Now, maybe, I don't know. I can't say that. LeBron like always gets attention.
Say, yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like there's an extra bump here because it's like, we need LA. Like LeBron's there. We gotta like this needs to. They're wishing it to be relevant. So they're hoping that they like make the play-in round and can like at least make it to through the play-in round to like be like, oh, LeBron's gonna go on some old man FU tour in the playoffs and wish it on, and they'll get smoked by the Suns in the.
I mean, the Phoenix Suns are 58 and 14.
It's ridiculous.
Who thought they would be that good this season? I mean,
and 10 games, and 10 games up on the Warriors. Everybody. And who's third? I can't think. Memphis, right? Yeah. But there's just such a gap there.
Memphis is 49 and 23. What the hell?
As opposed to the East, which we'll get in. We'll do the deeper dive on our NBA stuff in a bit. So go ahead, give me your knot to round out hot.
I don't even know how far I want to go with this because I think this is going to go in the ball locker pretty soon. But I'm going New England Patriots from the top on down. You want to talk about free agency? That's fair. I think you have a right to be pissed if you're a Patriots fan. But I want to start right with the coaching staff and go right through free agency because I think from the get-go here, it's been a terrible offseason. So Patriots offseason is on my list. Now, free agency is most notable because that's where we are right now. But they've done absolutely nothing, and every team is getting better around them. I think they're probably not a playoff team at this stage, and I think they're probably out of it by 2 or 3 teams at this stage because the Cleveland Browns, who, when we played our little game last week, were probably behind the Patriots. Now with Deshaun Watson, now he might not play every game, but he's going to be there for a lot of the season. They just leapfrogged you, and Matt Ryan just got traded to the Colts. So they leapfrogged you. So there's 2 teams right there, and then it's like the Jets and the Dolphins. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm a team in the NFL, I don't want to be in the company of the Dolphins and the Jets the last 20 years. So
no,
I don't. I just don't. For me, I don't know what the plan is. That's where it's most frustrating. I don't see any direction. It's just like Bill. At what point? Like I'm kind of hopping on that train of like if Bill doesn't do something this year, I think it might be time because it's like he's just inviting all these guys. He's got 2 kids on the team. He's got Matt Patricia and Joe Judge back, and that's pretty much it. And now Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, who have never been on the offensive side, are the quarterback's coach, the offensive line coach. They've signed nobody. I mean, how far down the rabbit hole I could go here for another 20 minutes? But
it's like, have you ever played like 28 seasons of a Madden franchise? Like it's like Madden, and you maybe every now and again you boot it back up. You got like Madden 15. You're like, you know what? I want to play that Cardinals franchise I made. It's like year 30.
yeah,
I feel like that's where we're at with the Patriots, legitimately under Bill, where it's like he's just tinkering. There's no, like, he wants to win, would love to win another Super Bowl, but he like wants to tinker. And like, I got Mac Jones, and I'm gonna tinker here, and I'm gonna like mess around this year and like try and win with no cornerbacks. I'm just gonna put 9 linebackers on the field with like two.
you know what he's doing?
With like
People
two
around the
safeties.
team.
That would be cool. No one's tried that before. Let's go with the 9-2 defense. I feel like that's what we're getting. I can't draw any other conclusions because of
I have no answer for you. Their acquisitions and free agency have been their own guys basically, and then a cornerback and a linebacker from a trade. But I'm like, a lot of people around the team have also said that the Patriots are still, nobody knows what the hell is going on nationally. I mean, you can just hear it from the media, but also around the team, it's like the Patriots are still kind of approaching the offseason and everything, free agency, as if they had Tom Brady to cover up all their mistakes and what have you. That's not the case anymore. So I don't know why that's the route they're taking. That's how it feels after reading some of the stuff. It's kind of wild that they think they're in the driver's seat in terms of, okay, we have Tom Brady, we can cover up this, that, and the other thing. We don't need to sign a cornerback. We don't need to sign a linebacker. We're good. Let's draft this year, and then all steam ahead. Let's sign 84 running backs, and we'll have our offense.
Yeah,
it's just not the way it is. It's not the way they've built the team now. They have a rookie quarterback or second-year quarterback now, and you should be working off that low-level contract and surrounding him, but they haven't done that. So I'm confused all around.
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, you could have convinced yourself, hey, they're going to make a trade at the draft. Maybe they do get crazy and trade for Deshaun Watson. Maybe they trade for Russell Wilson at the draft. Like, if those moves hadn't happened yet, you could delude yourself into saying something's up. Like, they're playing in something. Now it's haven't really done much of free agency.
Done much?
You've done
nothing new. They've done nothing new.
Fine. Yes. They have not significantly. All of us sat here at the end of the year and said, okay, this was a good year. You played your rookie quarterback. He got experience. He progressed. He grew as the year went on. He got to a playoff game. I thought when that game was at least competitive for the first quarter that he was competing. And I think he competed throughout the whole game. It just became a snowball of a game. And I said, you know what? Of all the guys in the field, I like his heart. I like his competitiveness. Hopefully he continues to grow. You felt good. And he said, there's major problems with the rest of this team that need to be addressed. Glaring. This isn't like a stat nerd sitting here saying, well, if you look at their efficiency on third down and long versus this sort of route, it was glaring. Third corner, pass rush. Like, it was obvious. Slow, old. And we said, okay, some guys you need to sign, some guys you don't need to sign, and they got to go heavy on the defense. And now we're trading offensive linemen, so now the offensive line's a problem. And now, we're bringing back coaches who failed other places and letting other coaches go. And
because they're friends.
We're not replacing. It's not even like you're replacing things with like-minded. So at least it's still status quo. You're like replacing with lesser parts, and the problems that exist in this team that existed at the end of the year are worse. I don't.
Yep.
And you know what?
You bet.
Yes. They have to address all this now at the draft. But you know what? You're not going to get. You will not get. The odds at the draft of you getting 2 starting corners, a starting guard, a starting linebacker, and finding somewhere in the draft, anywhere, even if you have to develop them, a wide receiver who can make big plays, you're going to find all 5 of those? We were hoping the Patriots would only have to find one of those. One. And so maybe you spend 3 picks on linebackers and hope that one works out. Or 3 picks on corners and hope that one works out. Your number 3 and number 4 corners are your number 1 and number 2 right now. And your number 3 and number 4 corners last year sucked. I don't know.
No wide receiver.
I don't know. And yes, like, there's going to be a way, and you know what's going to happen? This team is going to start, 2-4 again. And because they'll play the Jets, and they'll play who knows else, and they'll start 2-4, and people will say, But the difference? This team will not be good enough to win, 8-9 games in a row.
Hell no, they're not.
And so they are not going to make the playoffs this year. I have no confidence in them replicating even what they did last year, let alone getting better.
I can't wait to see the schedule, because then we're going to really find out, because I have a feeling they're a subpar 500 team. Just based on all the moves that have been in the AFC, every team has gotten better that was either neck and neck with you or ahead of you. They've all gotten better. Kansas City, Buffalo, they've made moves. Those were the top 2 in the conference, if you ask me on paper. Cincinnati's gotten better. They've picked up a couple offensive linemen. They know their needs, and they're going after guys. So all those teams that are at the top are making moves to kind of try to jump each other. And then the other teams in the conference as well, whatever you want to say. Vegas, they're getting better. I would say Vegas, Denver, Cleveland, Indy, all these teams are getting better.
Yeah.
Patriots, nowhere to be found.
Nick in the comment section says, while I don't disagree with you, Pez, Belichick has won with bums off the street before. He might be able to do it again. With Tom Brady.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the key? What's the key to that?
When you have if the had a top 5 quarterback, yes, you can win on offense with bums off the street. Belichick has never, ever, ever won with bums on defense. Because you can't scheme up bums on defense. Like Miles Bryant last year. I said it for 3/4 of the year. I said, I like this kid. He hustles. He's hard. He's tough. He should be a 4th corner. Right? A guy, you just kind of, you put him out there and you say, you know what? You're kind of a slot corner, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to blitz you, and we're going to drop a linebacker in a zone and try and use your physicality and your speed. Or maybe we use you as a spy. Chase Josh Allen around the field. Something like that. But covering an actual slot receiver, you can't get away with bums on defense. And he hasn't won with bums. He's won with scrap heap players who he turned into guys. J.C. Jackson was undrafted. But he's not a bum. They found guys. But like I said, you're hoping that he can find 2 corners, at least another legitimate pass rusher, an offensive lineman, and a wide receiver. The only wide receiver they've ever found in the draft was Julian Edelman, who made himself. That's a guy
was a quarterback.
Who was a quarterback, but who made himself into the player that he was. Oh, and again, played with Tom Brady. So they're not finding a wide receiver. They have found linemen all over the draft. So I'm going to say odds are they'll find a lineman. Linebackers and corners? Yeah, they've hit on some late. They found Malcolm Butler. They found J.C. Jackson. But those guys, when they came in, did not need to be number 1 corners.
I also still think you're missing it, though.
They scrapped their way onto the field and then developed. And it was like year 2, year 3. Now you're a number 1 corner. They've never drafted well for these positions to begin
That's
with, and now
that's
we're
not even-
expecting them to find them in the
Yeah,
draft.
but that's not even the main point. The main point is whether you want to call those guys bums or not. Bill is 17 to 16 since Brady left 2 years ago. Before that, if he had bums from 2000, so quote unquote bums from 2000 to 2019, 2018, he had the greatest quarterback of all time to cover all that crap up.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that anymore. That's the key point. I mean, over the last 2 years, what have we seen? Just two defenses get shredded. The quarterback position was a mess a year ago. Mac Jones has kind of stabilized it. But whether they have good players or not, is Bill the coach going to cover up as much as Tom Brady did? Absolutely not. I just don't believe that.
Because
And
Bill
now
will
he doesn't
tell
even
you.
have the coaches to do it because his kids are there and all his good buddies that failed other places are there.
Yeah, and Bill will tell you, players win the games. Like coaches can do as much as they want to do. At the end of the day, players have to make plays.
I'll tell you what. After another year, fans are going to start coming to the realization that it's no longer in Bill we trust, because maybe the coach in Bill can help these players that are not as good as, say, whatever player. You know, they're not peak Von Miller. They're not all those guys. So he can upgrade a Kyle Van Noy from Detroit. He's not going to cover up the quarterback position, the wide receiver position. He's not going to be able to coach offense, defense, special teams, and still draft well. He hasn't drafted well. Like the Bill and the Bill folks, Bill versus Tom Brady folks are kind of. I think he already lost that one. I don't know how you come back unless they win the Super Bowl this year somehow. That would be. I mean, I've seen it all. Then I don't know.
What's more likely, Christian? If you had to bet money right now, if you had to put money on it, you said, or somebody was like, you have to bet your house. So I'm gonna put I'm gonna put the house on the thing that's more likely to happen: St. Peter's winning March Madness or the Patriots winning the Super Bowl this year.
Oh yeah, it's not even close. St. Peter's.
That says a lot.
Yeah. All my prize positions are going to St. Peter's if I had to do it, which I don't, thankfully, but because I don't like my odds either way. But yeah, I'm definitely not going New England. I'll tell you that.
So I agree. Listen, I'm the upbeat. I'm the positive one. I try to find, let's look at it this way. There's ways to cut. It ain't good.
There's still time to make some moves, but at this stage, there's no way they're going to cover all the holes that they needed to cover. I mean, there's just absolutely no way. They had so many open spots on the roster. What are they going to sign? Dante Hightower again to a minimum contract, minimal
I'm
contract?
only going to, now, even with the draft, I don't think they wind up being any better than they were last year. They'll end up net bringing back talent-wise and ability-wise the same team, which is not going to go anywhere. It's not.
Nope. That's
not
it.
Not in this AFC. Not in this AFC. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll have to effort a way for us to get a soundboard to play this, but I'll just play it right now. As you alluded to, Christian, this topic goes in the ball locker. So this is for things. That'll be our ball locker.
Later, New England
sound effect.
The
From
New
now
England
on,
Patriots. From this moment forward, right here in the ball locker, Patriots.
It's gone to the ball
And
locker.
we're gonna lock that thing too for a while until they actually do something and look like they want to compete.
Into the ball locker. You have been banished.
Until further notice. Now, typically when we put things in the ball locker, they come out the next week. So hopefully the Patriots come out next week.
Yeah, I know. Everything that's gone into the ball locker. We ain't talking about this until something happens. Oh, Major League Baseball strikes the deal.
11
Aaron
days
Rodgers
later?
gets signs a contract. So hey, maybe now we talked about the power of my words, Christian. Maybe we have now just put into the universe that
The
good
power
things
of the ball locker.
the power of the ball locker. It just lingers. So the other NFL biggies, we wondered when Carson Wentz got traded, what are the Colts going to do at quarterback? The answer is Matt Ryan. I am a little surprised because it didn't seem like there was no indication that they were like got to get him out of here. It seemed like they were like, hey, you know what? We're going to pay him, and he's going to at least keep us relevant, and we'll sell some tickets. This is not an NFL. I mean, the NFL usually doesn't make these kinds of moves. Oh, guy's in the last year of his deal. You know what? Let's just trade him for something, get some value, and let him go play somewhere else. Like, you kind of just want to keep people coming to the games. So surprised a little bit, but it makes sense. It makes perfect sense for Indy. For Indy. So good on them. Now they are right back. They are immediately again. They go from that just a quarterback away. Now they have the quarterback, like you said. Now they're just another team to put in the pile that is going to be relevant in the AFC.
Yeah, big time move. I mean, they upgraded from Carson Wentz. There's absolutely no question in my mind. I don't think Matt Ryan's as cash as everybody seems to say. I don't know what the Matt Ryan hate is. I think, is he like Aaron Rodgers? No, but he is better than Carson Wentz. And that Colts team was they were a playoff team with Phillip Rivers, and I'd rather have Matt Ryan than Phillip Rivers. So they were on the cusp last year as well. So I like the direction of the Colts. They still have to get younger at quarterback eventually, but for right now, Matt Ryan for the next 2-3 years, they have a window now, and they just leapfrogged you. They leapfrogged a couple other teams probably with their talent.
And you know what? This could be our theme. This could be the theme. Matt Stafford gets out of Detroit, goes to LA, wins a Super Bowl. Matt Ryan had success in Atlanta, got to a Super Bowl, as we know, lost it.
Not exactly icy in that one.
Not exactly. The ice melted.
Don't say that again.
Gets to.
Please don't do that again.
All I'm laughing at now is that I have the cut of you saying again. Please don't do that again.
That's true. Yeah, now you do have that. That's a good one.
That's good. That'll be for the upgraded hot and not segment. So maybe he goes to Indy, can win a Super Bowl. Honestly, personally, I like the Colts better than the Packers to get to a Super Bowl this year.
Sure. Yeah.
I would rather have Matt Ryan as my quarter. Matt Ryan, who has made all of one Super Bowl, and it's the worst collapse ever of a team in a playoff game or Super Bowl. I would take Matt Ryan this year over Aaron Rodgers. I believe more in the mojo change and Matt Ryan going somewhere else and just getting a fresh start than I do in Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay.
Especially after Devontae Adams moved, which we can get to in a minute, but Panchakarma is probably pissed now. He must be pissed. Devontae Adams is shipped out. Josh McDaniels is upgrading, though. Gotta like it.
Like you said, the AFC arms race. It's just
real quick before we get to Adams, you know who this season is opening up for now? It's like the AFC there's like 25 teams stacked. Tom Brady is just sitting over here like, oh hell yeah, I'm in the NFC. This is going to be a cakewalk.
It is.
Maybe the Rams, but that's about it.
It totally is. Because I have no idea what's happening with Jimmy G and San Fran.
Yeah, who knows?
And I think either way, I think if Jimmy G were back there again, I think they're going to be a 10-11 win team. That defense is so good.
Yeah.
But if they go to Lance, there's going to be a regression. So that's one of your teams that you thought. What are the Cardinals going to be? Like, it seems like there's some weird sort of internal turmoil there.
Yeah.
So that's a team you thought. I guess the Cowboys, but it's the Cowboys who kind of keep
who you don't trust.
I don't trust them at all.
In my opinion, there's 4 teams. It's Tampa Bay, LA, Green Bay, and which one did you just say? I just completely had a brain fart. What team did we just say? I can't remember. Arizona, but then Cowboys. Did I say Cowboys?
Dun 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 boom boom.
Tampa Bay, LA, Dallas. I'm losing my train of thought again.
This is fantastic.
Rams.
I'm going to
Tampa
clip this
Bay,
whole
Green
segment, and
Bay,
we're just going to
Dallas
replay
Cowboys.
this
I
on
got
Hot
it.
and
I
Not
got it.
next week.
I got it.
All right, let's finally hear. Give me
Cowboys,
your top
Green
four.
Bay, Tampa Bay, Rams. Okay, those 4, and 2 of those teams I don't trust. The Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. The Rams
No.
did it last year, so I can't really not trust them, I guess, even though they tried to blow it.
Yeah.
But Green Bay and Dallas, I just have. How can I have any faith that those teams are going to make a push?
Well, we said last week, okay, you're Green Bay. You sign Aaron Rodgers. You keep him. But
God, that was bad. God, that was so bad. I can't stop thinking about that now.
But like,
How did I forget the 3 out of 4 teams?
to do
sign off.
what? Like you're gonna do what as Green Bay? Just get back to the same spot and lose? And now you couldn't keep Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Is Aaron Rodgers gonna like want to deal with like as Nick put it? Tom Brady made the most out of bums. Aaron Rodgers does not want to put up with bums. No bums. So I don't know maybe the wide receiver market is ridiculous. So maybe it's going to be a while. It's going to be like baseball where these guys might sit there until the draft and not sign until June. Once it's like, okay, well, I want to play in the league this year, so I'll sign with somebody. I'd rather sign
Allen
with...
Robinson's off the board, right? So
yeah,
I don't know who's left on that board. I don't think there's very many. At
Julio?
least.
Did Julio sign somewhere? I missed some action this week.
Yeah, Julio is still on the market, but I feel like is he even what he was? I just don't think he's like that big.
No, but he's one of those guys that might be waiting for money, and when it doesn't come, would I rather go play with Aaron Rodgers on the cheap, or would I rather go take like $5 million to go play for the?
I think
to
he's
go back
probably
to
gonna.
Tennessee.
He's gonna go play with his buddy in Indianapolis and play with Matt Ryan again. That's what I think.
Let's see. Free agent tracker. No, I don't want the tracker. I want like who's available right now. Spotrac. Good old Spotrac. Come on. Load. Maybe not good old Spotrac. Taking forever. Spinning wheel. The spinning wheel of death. Anyways, I mean, we'll look. We'll try and pull up the list here of available wide receivers. Why is this not working? But yeah, I mean, who are the Packers going to get? Like you said, Aaron Rodgers is going to be fuming. Absolutely fuming.
His number 1 weapon. Probably the best receiver in the league.
Did he actually agree to that contract yet? Now it's like, yeek, I shouldn't have done that. Let's see. Available. Update. I want wide receivers. This is awful. So slow. Okay, here we go. The market still for wide receivers. Top of the market. Julio Jones, age 33.
And pretty
Jarvis
cash.
Landry, who I like.
Age?
29. Will Fuller, 27. T.Y. Hilton, 32. Cole Beasley, 32. People were surprised by the Cole Beasley release. I really am not.
No, they don't need him.
Slot receivers, guys like him, oh, they take a beating. And you know what? If he was like, I want 6-7 million, goodbye. Julian Edelman is one of the best slot receivers of the last 10 years. He never got money because that position, the shelf life is so short. And some guys last like 10, 11 years, but that's it.
They also didn't even need him down the stretch. They have Isaiah McKenzie, Emmanuel Sanders, Diggs, Gabriel Davis. Like, they don't need Cole Beasley, so I'm not surprised by that.
No. Well, Emmanuel Sanders on the street right now, 35.
Oh, well.
AJ Green,
Even him.
33. And now getting into Keenan Cole, Sammy Watkins, Albert Wilson, Deshaun Jackson, Danny Amendola, 36. OBJ, 29. You know, obviously he's got the injury. He'll probably he might sit for a while and then like come back to LA, you know.
Yeah, probably.
Marquise Goodwin, Adam Humphries, Mohamed Sanu, Demarcus Robinson, Demir Bird, D.D. Westbrook. Like, named all these guys. 29, 28, 29, 31, 28, 32, 27, 35, 36.
Something's got to shake out there.
There's, the rest of this, you go down this list, now you're starting to at this point, you're like, this is diamond in the rough stuff.
You know who's not on that list?
You're better off drafting. You're better off drafting somebody than if you're the New England Patriots right now, I don't sign any of these guys.
Oh, I don't know.
Because at least these top 10 guys are going to want money. Would you rather pay Will Fuller $10 million a year or draft 2 corners?
Oh, well, you're not drafting a wide receiver.
I know, but I don't want to pay a wide receiver. You already screwed up and paid Nelson Aguilar. Just keep paying that dude or find a way to trade him. Then maybe you could sign a receiver. You're already paying. You paid for your offense last year. Though. You have to make what you have on offense right now work with what you paid for last year. No more agent money on offense. Sorry. It's got to go on the defense.
Yep.
Which
although this draft, I'm going to take.
Not that there's this plethora of, corners left on the market. That market is like the same deal. Let's flip on over. Trey Waynes, Stephon Gilmore, Joe Hayden, Kyle Fuller, Tavon Young, Chris Harris, Pat Peterson, Janoris Jenkins. 33, 31, 32, 33, 32, 31, 30.
Yeah.
All these guys are going to want money too.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
And if you were New England Patriots, Tom Brady, circa 2014, load up. I don't care. We only need Gilmore for 1 year. Pay him. Hey, bring Janoris Jenkins in. Give him a 1 year deal, $10 million. I don't care. Backload it. Stupid cash on another year, void year. Get him in here for 1 year. We want to go win a ring. Yeah. This team right now, no. And also teams like the Packers. Like, you signed Aaron Rodgers to that deal, You can't spend now. You pray any of these players take less money to come play for you because you have Aaron Rodgers. But I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is that guy who's gonna
He'll get his MVP and be happy.
Have there been other players who go to Green Bay and take less because of Aaron Rodgers being there? I don't feel like there's that effect. Like we see that with Brady. There's a Tom Brady effect. Like it already happened.
Yeah,
he unretired and guys were like, I'll come back to Tampa.
Yeah, you just answered your own question. No, because Brady wins.
Exactly. So nobody's coming to Green Bay.
I'll go.
Yeah, obviously.
They pay me, I'll go.
Where are they in their cap? I guess they have $20 million in cap space. That's kind of surprising. Well, because I think they futzed with his contract, with Rodgers' contract for this year. Yeah, his cap hit this year is 28. I want to see, because all that information's out now. Let's see. Next year, 31, then 40. Oh my God. His cap hit in 3 years is $59 million.
Got to pay for premium talent.
Oh my goodness.
Cap is crap anyways. Who cares?
And the Packers will not win a Super Bowl. Bucket. Anywho.
Not exactly a bold take, but I agree.
Moving on from the NFL. If you have any NFL thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the comment section. We're always happy to circle back. Nick does say Will Fuller, OBJ, D.D. Westbrook, all available. Yeah, and those guys are still, at least for the moment, gonna command not top dollar but dollars.
Real dollars. Wow.
Real dollars. Nothing I have. Anywho.
You and me both.
I wanted to touch quickly. We already kind of hit on some NBA stuff a little bit. We'll pull up the NBA standings and kind of run because there's only 3 weeks left of the regular season, pretty much. The Boston Celtics just came off a historic West Coast road trip that they go undefeated. Their scoring margin, they won all the games almost by I mean, last night they kind of slacked off. Like a total get out game or get home game, and they slacked off in the fourth quarter. They only won, I think, by like 11 or 12. Maybe even been 9.
Not even. I think it was like 8, yeah.
By the end of it. Backdoor cover for the Thunder.
They pretty much dominated.
They
that
were up
game
by 30-something points at one point in the third quarter. I mean, their margin of victory for the most part in all those games was like 20-something points. Absolutely. I mean, for a franchise as storied as the Celtics, like, it was record-setting. The things they're doing right now. They've won, I think it's 19 of their last 21. It may even be more than that at this point. Like, just crazy. I can't even believe I'm watching the same team. Like, normally, teams that have these turnarounds, it requires this, like, massive overhaul of the roster. It's like, you know, hey, we traded, like, 2 stars, and we got back stuff, and it changed the dynamic, and it was like a total new, you trade your whole bench to bring in a superstar, something nuts. Or you fire your coach midway through the year, and it changes something. They traded, Josh Richardson.
Dennis Schroeder was a big one, though. Schroeder was a big one, though.
But, I mean, you got rid of players.
He got away. Yeah, but he got in the way of, like, the guys that were making meaningful minutes when they got in the game.
I know.
Now was that's not the whole reason they turned it around. The reason they turned it around is because of their defense. Their buy-in, they got healthy, but also Tatum and Brown are just otherworldly right now.
Yeah, but that's my point. Is normally it's getting rid of guys and, like, bringing a guy back. Like, all they did was get rid of those 2 guys, and like you said, mostly Schroeder. And you went from a team that was 500 and kind of hapless, and even if they were up 20-something points in the fourth quarter, you were like, I don't feel comfortable. They're going to blow this.
To be fair, though, they were playing much better before the trade deadline.
They were.
Too.
They were. They
were on the run before.
They had already started this turnaround, and they credited a lot of it to health, just getting healthy, and guys getting. I mean, Tatum was also having, like, a very just horrible shooting slump to start the season.
I would say that is
now, by pure totals, he is leading the league in scoring.
Yeah,
because he's having an absurd tear. He was.
Yeah, you want to hear his last 10
player
split?
of the month? Yeah.
34.4 points per game, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, 3-point percentage is 46%, and field goal percentage overall is 53%.
Sick.
I mean, that's top 5 talent. I mean, it really is. He's turned into, like, that guy over the last. And I will say, Jaylen Brown has done the same thing. Those 2 guys have had 30-point games each. So in the same game, which we did not see the last few years, but maybe one time or something like that. So they know how to play to each other's strengths now. It appears. I don't know how far you go with the coaching in the NBA, but I think Udoka has gotten some of that out of them. I think he's kind of changed the mentality, and they bought into that, which is good. And then guys are making shots. I mean, Peyton Pritchard is shooting the lights out right now. Grant Williams has improved into a really good shooter. Al Horford at the age of 35, not that that's, like, astronomically old, is playing out of his mind. I mean, he looks better than he did 5 years ago, which is ridiculous. So they're just playing really well, and I think those 2 guys are just that is the key. And Marcus Smart, for all my gripes with Marcus Smart, since this turnaround, I mean, he's playing the best basketball of his career.
Go figure. You make him the real point guard. You let him run the offense. And guess what? Now he doesn't have to just stand in the corner and feel like the only way I'm involved is if I shoot the ball. It's all of the pieces have just slotted together, and all of a sudden this team is like an NBA contender.
And the defense is ridiculous too. I mean, they're swarming teams. Jokic and all these stars that you see, they're swarming these guys.
Well, and here's the thing: Grandy said it last night on the broadcast. The Celtics, when you watch them right now, are having fun playing defense. Like, it's
they bought
noticeable.
in,
And that's the buy-in. They're enjoying the grind and the defense. And like you said about Tatum, his vision in passing has
shot
improved
right up
dramatically. Yeah. His decision making, and especially, hey, they're still only going to go as far. They don't have a true, like, other shooter on the floor. And so, like, right now that guy is Peyton Pritchard and Grant Williams. at the end of the day, Tatum and Brown are really, 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 really good. They're only going to go as far as those other guys can carry them because in the playoffs, Tatum and Brown will find a way to get theirs. They need somebody to hit shots. So right now,
and it ain't going to be Derek White. Let me tell you. Oh my God, dude. That is the one low spot is he is shooting like 10%. He stinks right now. Shooting. I like his effort in defense, right? And he can drive. He can still get to the basketball, the hoop and dish.
See, here's the thing, though.
You cannot shoot the basketball.
You got him on this roster?
Real quick, you want to talk about things that need to go in the ball locker? His shot is in the ball locker. Let me tell you, until further notice.
Oh, I wish I still had the sound effect. I think, though, like it's almost like Marcus Smart had that same thing going where it's like the shot was just, it's almost like they got another Marcus Smart type player. So now that curse has been put on Derek White. So what that means is that he's going to have one of those games where he hits that like 8 threes in a playoff game and just goes off. And then
he's shooting 18% from 3. His other game is really good. I actually really like Derek White as a player. He brings everything to the table in terms of he can drive, he can kick, he can pass, and he hustles. He plays hard and he plays defense. But every time he shoots a 3, it's like there's like a lid on the hoop, and it's just a stone wall, and it's just clunk, clunk, clunk. You want to talk about the doink sounder? Just watch him shoot 3s. It's just like it's doink city.
That hollow hitting the back of the iron, thud.
Everything below the 3-point line or beneath the 3-point line is pretty good. Outside that line, though, oof. He's just got to get some confidence, I think, and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you just got to see it go in a couple times, but he's shooting 18%. This is not good.
Yeah. But everything else is going great. I mean, right now, Boston Celtics in a 3-way tie for second place with the Bucks and the Sixers. 2.5 games out of the first seed, which is the Miami Heat right now. Celtics
Ridiculous.
will play the Heat, I think, this week.
You told me if you told me 2 months ago the Celtics would be 3 games in the loss column behind Miami of number 1 seed, I would say.
In the words of Steve Nash, you on crack,
or that, yeah.
Either one,
or
stay
that.
off
Either
the
one.
weed. No, bananas. Now here's what's cool, and this is one of these things I think it's only good for the NBA. So the top 4 teams separated by 2.5 games. The Bulls, who are for the longest time are in the number 1 spot, they're 4.5 games out. They're the 5 seed. Obviously, they're still having a resurgent season. The Cavs have been like this spunky team all year. They're 10 games over 500. They're the 6th seed. The Raptors, it's like they're this zombie team that just seems to never die. And like it looked like they were having this team that was this season that was going down the tubes, and now they've fought their way over 500. They're the 7th seed. The Nets, who like have all this talent, just can't get it all out on the floor at once. Like, that's scary.
That's a scary team, though. That's a scary
The
team.
Nets are the 8th seed. Like, Miami, you've had a great year. You've earned the number 1 seed. Congratulations, you're playing Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons in the first round. Like,
good luck.
That's such a wild card. Even the Hornets, like, they have some talent. Isaiah Thomas, signed for the year, baby. I'm glad that he got...
Celtics light down there in Charlotte.
Yeah, really. You know, we got T-Row, we got Gordon Hayward down there. I'm glad that IT though.
They're all back together.
They're all together. No, that he got a legit contract for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And then Atlanta, who's obviously like after making it to the East Finals, you know, they're right now they're going to be in the play-in. The Wizards are not. I don't think they're going to make up ground. They'd have to make up 5 games to get to the 10th spot. So that's it. Atlanta, Charlotte, Brooklyn, Toronto. That's your play-in tournament. One of these things is not like the other.
There's only 9 games left, so I mean it's pretty crazy. So you're coming down the wire.
But that is still a packed conference, and you look at that now in a playoff series. Obviously, some of these teams I don't think have any chance. But in a play-in tournament, like, I don't have any faith in the Nets. In one game, you're telling me one game. Like, yes, Kevin Durant's awesome, but what if he's not playing?
What did you just say?
In one game, I don't trust the Nets right now. I don't.
Oh, my God.
Can you tell me Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving will be playing in that game?
I'm about to stuff you in the ball locker after that one.
Can you? That's That's harassment. You're bullying, sir. And I will not stand for.
I've been on
Can-
both sides of that. So.
Can you tell me that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving will both be healthy and both be playing in that play-in game?
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, they'll win. But
All right, so we agree then. They'll win.
If those guys are healthy, yeah. But that's what's scary for them is that they have to be in that one-game scenario. You just gotta hope you're healthy at that point.
The best team in the conference is still the Nets if they're healthy. By the way,
I don't know, because I haven't seen. Now we're all the way back to like last year when they got Harden, and everybody said the same thing. I don't know. We haven't seen it yet. I don't know if they're the best team.
In Kevin Durant's words, if his big ass foot was like an inch shorter, they're going to the finals again. So
yeah, but
let's not pretend like they weren't in it.
No, but I'm saying like right now, that's last year. Right now, like I think.
Yeah, Kevin Durant's still the best player in the world.
Okay,
that didn't change. So if he's on the floor, they're going to win the game probably in a clutch situation. He almost beat the Nets, the Bucks by himself, and the Bucks won the championship.
We'll see. Again, my whole point: the parity.
Look, you're a little bit biased because you root for the. Not that I root for the Nets, but you definitely don't want to see them win, right? Because that would just go against like the sell off all these pieces and what the hell they're doing down there. But hey, they're pretty good with Seth Curry, and if Ben Simmons ever gets on the floor, it might help, but. Between Kyrie and Kevin Durant, that's enough right there. They might be the best duo in the league.
Yeah, and that's your 8 seed. To my point, the parity in the East, I think is just awesome and good for the league.
I think both conferences are good. You're seeing a bunch of new teams. Like, who thought the Grizzlies were going to be the number 2 seed in the West? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, well, true. What's crazy about the West, though, is different from the East, is like we said before, the Suns are just running away.
Yeah.
It
doesn't mean no win, though.
That's been from the get-go. 58 and 14 right now. They've been the number. I think the Warriors maybe were ahead of them very narrowly early on in the year.
Yeah, earlier, yeah.
The Warriors then kind of went on like a slump. I mean, they're still kind of in it, 4 and 6 in their last 10. Losing to the Celtics in that road trip.
Yeah, and Steph Curry's down for a while. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to get to real fast.
Just reminded me of it.
On Marcus Smart and said that whole Steph Curry and Smart situation, Steve Kerr. Like, I'm sorry, if anybody thinks that Marcus Smart diving on a loose ball is a dirty play, just quit watching sports. I don't know what to say at that point. Like, what are we doing? Yes, Marcus Smart, the next play down, he like tried to ninja kick Klay Thompson, which wasn't great, right, for him. But like him diving on the floor for a loose ball is not a dirty play. I don't even know what Steve Kerr is talking about here. It's just because it was Steph, obviously. But Curry is not like, he's not running towards the ball to dive on it. Smart is. And you think Smart is like, what, looking back and making sure he lands on his ankle? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, This is when you go too far with it.
Yeah, and here's the thing about it. And Draymond Green, Steph Curry's teammate, and a guy who tells it how it is, said flat out after the game, not a dirty play. It's not. He's like, it's an unfortunate play. It's one of those things you hope, like, oh, he dove, come on. Like,
you said unnecessary.
Or unnecessary, right?
I mean, I don't even know if that's
but here's the thing. But he said, but if you told me somebody on the Boston Celtics dove for a loose ball,
yeah,
I'd say it's Marcus Smart. Like, if that was Daniel Tice diving at a ball and, like, chopped undercut like Steph Curry, you'd be like, what the heck, man? You're Daniel Tice. Why are you trying to, like, jump through Steph Curry's legs?
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, that's Marcus Smart. You expect that out of Marcus Smart. It's not dirty. He plays hard. Like, ball's on the floor. We're taught from our kid, go for the ball. Did he kind of, like, maybe go through stuff? He's like, a little bit, but that's Marcus Smart. Like, it's a loose ball. It's not a dirty play.
Steve Kerr, you have Draymond Green on your team. Shut up.
That's the other thing, too. It's like, you have the guy that does that much, much more. There's many more dirty plays from Draymond.
If anything was dirty, it was he looked like he was just training with Mr. Miyagi. The next time down the floor, he's just karate kicks Klay Thompson. Like that was even more like, okay, what are we doing there? Not the diving on a loose ball. How many times do you see that per game? Like, stop it with that. He's a dirty player for diving on the loose ball.
Yeah. No, I thought that was stupid. And that's why I almost kind of like forgot about it, because it was just like, this is so stupid. Forgetting it. Yeah, we could have put Steve Kerr on the not list, honestly.
I know, I had forgotten about that. Yeah, he probably would have been up there, to be honest.
For that.
Steve Kerr.
So, but yeah, Grizzlies, Warriors, Jazz, Mavericks, Nuggets. What's crazy about the Nuggets, now luckily, I mean, not for long, I think they play the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are a half game behind the Nuggets. The Nuggets could potentially be in the play-in round. Now, they're a team that's just been decimated by injury.
Yeah.
And are just like struggling to stay above water. So if they're in the play-in round, like that's like a tough draw for them.
I'll tell you, if you watched a little bit of the Nuggets game the other day, you would have thought that it was TD Garden with the Celtics fans that were in there when the Celtics were there. And also, man, there was a stretch in there where the Celtics went off on like a 22-3 run, and it was ugly for the Nuggets. Ugly. So I don't know. They're going to be in it, but I don't know how far they can go without Jamal Murray and Porter Jr. So I mean, it's kind of unfortunate. Jokic is still ridiculous, but
he's so good, but alone, he can't do it alone.
Once you get blocked by Grant Williams, your status goes down a little bit.
By Batman.
Yeah, Batman.
Yeah, no, that was all. That game, the thing that you said, the fact that it sounded like it was the Garden in that corner, and that, I mean, the place was making noise. Celtics generally travel well with their fans. There's Celtics fans everywhere. That was one of the loudest, like, road, like, early in the game. Sometimes you hear at the end of the game, as a blowout, something, hey, the Celtics fans have all moved down. That was like
there
from the jump.
Few prominent "Let's Go Celtics" chants where they were out, like, drowning out the Nuggets crowd. Yeah.
And the Nuggets announcer was trying to get him going. He was trying to, like, talk back, like, come on, Nuggets fans. It was the most, like, I've heard the PA guy trying to, like, get the crowd going.
Yeah.
That was funny. And yeah, I, like, was watching the game, and then I, like, blink. I was, like, doing something, and I look up, and I'm like, are we up 28 points?
Yeah.
In the second quarter? What just happened?
There was one run in there in the second quarter where it's just like Tatum hit 2 threes, then Pritchard hit 2, and it was ugly. Yeah.
Yeah. And Tatum in that game had one of those, like, he missed a 3, then the Celtics got like a steal, and they got it to Tatum, and he just crossed a guy, and Jokic was there, and then decided,
get
out
What's
of
the point?
I'm gonna get out of the way here, and Tatum just flushed it. He has played with so much more fire this year in the second half.
Good to see.
I've ever seen. You know, the only more fire I saw was that dunk his rookie year. That's it. You know, to see that animation, and he's gonna need that. And like we said, maybe that's the Udoka factor. You know, listen, these guys aren't your friends. Don't be their friends. Go get them. You're a killer. You could be better than all these guys.
Yeah.
Be the alpha dog. On that note, do you think Udoka, you know, is he going to be coach of the year now, given this turnaround?
I think there's a couple guys in that I mean, I think that I don't even know who the Grizzlies coach is, but I think obviously he's got to be in the conversation. Udoka as well.
Taylor Jenkins.
Taylor Jenkins, never heard of him, but I mean, hey, he's got his team playing well, and they've played a lot of games without Ja Morant too, and they play hard. So he's on the list. Obviously, I think Monty Williams is still out in Phoenix, right? I think he's obviously on the list with that team just absolutely running.
If the Heat are the number 1 seed, Spoelstra could be.
Spoelstra. So he's in the conversation, but I don't know if he wins it.
Yeah. But certainly, again, things.
Can you do coach of the second half of the year? Because I think he wins that.
Yeah, things. You told me at Christmas we'd be pondering Ime Udoka, coach of the year. Jason Tatum, MVP, top 5 player. Celtics, are they going to win the title? Not a shot.
Yeah.
We would have had them buried so deep in the ball locker. Anywho,
that was
NHL
questionable.
Trade Deadline. Christian, if you want to run us through, in your mind, what were the notable moves around the National Hockey League?
Yeah, I'll end with the Bruins because I want to get your thoughts on that as well and what they did. But I think the most notable is probably the Panthers going after and getting Claude Giroux. That's a big pickup for them.
Dude.
Panthers are right in the mix there. They're top of the league. It's them, Tampa, those teams. Unfortunately, the Boston Bruins are going to get one of those top teams in the first round of the playoffs, so that's going to be a tough go. But they got better for sure. The Minnesota Wild really geared up. They got Fleury and Net, who's played really well for Chicago. And the Blackhawks are just out of it, so they got rid of him for a pick. I think it was a first rounder, actually. And then a couple other ones were Carolina, who is also top of the conference. They're 1, 2, 3. Tampa, the Panthers, and then Carolina in whatever order. Those three are just the top of the conference. They got Max Domi late. I don't know how much that matters. I mean, he's a good depth piece, but I don't know how much he really pushes them over the top. They're already a really good team. And then Raquel from the Ducks goes to Pittsburgh, which I was hoping the Bruins would maybe take a flyer on him. I think he went for a second rounder. I don't know how many picks you can get rid of. You can't keep selling off picks if you're the Bruins, but he would have helped forward depth, but Pittsburgh gets better. And then the Avs, they got Lehkonen for a second rounder. So a lot of second rounders moving, and then good pieces moving back and forth. I didn't even check on the Rangers. I know the Rangers are up at the top of the conference again. They are in the mix. So a lot of the teams that were at the top, Andrew Kopp and Tyler Mott went to New York. So all these teams at the top of the conference are getting better. And then that leads to the Bruins, where they definitely needed help. And not only do they trade for Hampus Lindholm, but they signed him to an 8-year contract for $6.5 AAV. Pretty big move. I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of Anaheim Ducks games, but from what I have seen of Lindholm, he's not like the nastiest guy in terms of he's big, but he's not a fighter. He's a good, solid defenseman. He can do a bit of everything. I just hope they play him with McAvoy. I know Cassidy has already said he wants to play Grzelcyk with both of them, Carlo and McAvoy, and Lindholm with both of them, McAvoy and Carlo. So I don't know how I feel about that. You're paying this guy to be, and I feel like McAvoy on that left side needs somebody that's big, stout, and can do a bit of everything. So I just don't know how I feel about that decision. But in the postseason, I'd like to see McAvoy Lindholm. I think that's a big piece. They need help on that left side. He fills a huge need, and those two guys, those are two pretty good defensemen that you have going forward, left and right. And you didn't give up Lysell or Laurier, and now you're kind of on your way here. Does it put them over the top of these other teams? I don't know. These other teams are so good. Panthers, Tampa, they're so stacked. So it's going to be tough either way. And the last one, they got Josh Brown from Ottawa, and he's kind of more rugged. So it gives them depth on the right side now. But you're probably looking at a top 4 pair of Grzelcyk, Carlo, McAvoy, Lindholm, and then those other 3-4 guys, which, make no mistake, in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you're going to need 7 or 8 defensemen maybe.
Yeah.
We've seen it in the past. So they got better, but so did every other team.
Yeah. When this trade first went down for the Bruins, I didn't understand it, like adding in the contract piece. And I'm like, whoa, you just went out and got a guy, and you're just like, contract. It caught me by surprise. But the more I think about it, what are the things that we've kind of criticized in the past? It's like, man, they just need some size back there. Like, yikes. Like, they're just going to get bullied and pushed around. And so you add the size. You have a legitimate defenseman back there now. And you know what? The more I think about the contract thing, which was really a turnoff for me when I first saw it, look at what's going to happen to defenseman contracts. So in like 3 years, this contract is going to be a complete steal. I mean, it's
6.5 is not bad.
You have the guy now, And unless he turns into like a choke artist and just like starts like tripping over himself in the playoffs, and we go like, no, what did we do? It's gonna work out and it's gonna be fine. That's me about all of this is that DeBrusque is still here.
And he signed to a new deal.
Very openly wants to get traded. Well, the report was he signed the deal, and it was like, okay, this is to be to facilitate his move. Right. And then he was at morning skate, and I'm like, this is a little unnatural. Like, is he just kind of like skating around like his bags are like in the bench? Like, okay, so
not only was he there, he was leading the stretch.
Where am I going, guys? Oh, he was probably happy as a clam. Whatever, I'm getting out of here. All my bags are packed. I'm ready to go.
Not so much.
301. What? Where? Oh, you mean I'm going to the game?
Montreal.
Is this gonna like? I'm just stunned they didn't just trade him for a bucket of pucks. Like,
no, he's too much of an asset to do that. You can't just drop him.
So what? So then, what prevented them? Is it just they set a price and they stuck to it? I mean,
most
granted,
likely,
he's been producing a little bit here down the stretch, but I kind of felt like that was more like, hey, the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna pot a few. I feel good. Get me out of here. Is he gonna go back into a shell now?
Definitely possible. But I mean, on that top line, it's really hard to not play hard when you're playing next to Patrice Bergeron and Marchand.
Yeah.
Now Bergeron's obviously out right now, but he will hopefully be back with that infection. But on the DeBrusque thing, they signed him to the deal to be more enticing for other teams. So it's 2 years, $4 million AAV. And the way I see it is, I don't want to get rid of him for just nothing. I mean, I don't think that does nothing for you. He's in your control. Just because he wants to trade doesn't mean you have to get rid of him. And you put his ass on the ice and he plays. I mean, that's just the way it goes. You're under contract for a team. So worst comes to worst, you hang on to him. You hope he gives you something here going forward and into the playoffs. And then in the offseason, that'll kind of open the window for another trade scenario to pop up.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I like Jake DeBrusque. I haven't necessarily liked the production we've gotten from him. I obviously want to see him succeed. I wanted to see him succeed here. When guys very openly want to be traded and the franchise acknowledges that he wants to be traded and they're going to like try and trade him and then it doesn't happen, I get a little nervous about what's going to happen. I mean, worst comes to worst, I guess, if you were going to trade him for a bucket of balls and you don't, a bucket of pucks and you don't, and you throw him out there and he's just skating circles and doesn't care, then you yank him and you're exactly where you would have been anyways.
Yep.
Granted, I think if you had traded him, maybe you could have then made another secondary move for a third or fourth line guy to, even if you put him up on the first line, because honestly the third line's going right now. I don't want to disturb too much of what's going on in the second and third lines.
No, I mean you want to keep Hall and Pasternak together. Those two are really, really kind of meshing. Hall has kind of become more of a setup guy. A lot of people think he's a finisher, but in his career he's a decent assist guy. And when he's playing good, I mean, I think he's going well right now. So the two of them, you don't want to split up. So just keep him on that first line and hope he gives you something. I mean, he's giving you something right now, a little bit less as of late, but hopefully with this trade deadline stuff, this distraction, if that's what it was, he can kind of push forward. The big one is Lindholm. That left side is now shored up here going forward. So you have some guys on defense that are coming. So Laurier is one that hopefully will pan out. Now the Bruins draft picks, who knows? But Lindholm is a good player. He's a stout guy, plays a ton of minutes, and him and McAvoy I would love to see together.
Yeah. Yes, and it's crazy that the winter sports are racing to the finish line. About 19 to 20 games left for most of the teams in the NHL, and that's gonna go by quick. Bruins are gonna be they're in fine position. Columbus isn't catching them.
No,
So
they'll be in the playoffs. They're gonna have a
it's-
tough road though.
It's you and the Capitals in the wild card, and yeah, I mean, no matter where you end up going, I mean, hey, it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. There are easier roads, but there are no easy roads. If
No.
that makes sense. So that is gonna do it for this edition of the show. Thank you for those who were able to jump in with us on the live stream. We are live every week, usually Mondays, sometimes Tuesdays, depending upon our schedule. But on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch, if you follow us on social media, you get updated whenever we're going to have the live show, either Mondays or Tuesdays. So stay tuned for those updates. If you're one of our podcast listeners, thank you for finding us through Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can reach us anytime by email, the360sportshow@gmail.com. You can send us a note or a message. I will pop in there quick to check out and see if we have any messages through the email machine. And it does not. Oh, we do have one, and that is a spam comment on a YouTube video that I am not going to read. Lots of swear words.
Okay.
So somebody found us on YouTube. Congratulations, and left a
Thank you so
curse
much.
word laden comment that we'll have to check out off air. But anywho,
Awesome.
that is going to do it for us here tonight. I'm Andrew Pizzelli. He is Christian Lauber. Have a good night, everybody.
See you later.